Hi. What is going on, all you awesome superhero aficionados? This is the Heroes of Mutants podcast, your number one source of superhero talk. I'm Nick, and I'm super excited because we got the whole gang here today.
Yep.
Ruben, Eric, and Jimmy. Glad all of you guys can make it, man. Hope everybody. Before we get started, too, I just wanted to, just because, especially with adulthood, and I'm sure Eric can relate to this greatly because he's got a family and he's got a lot of responsibility is a lot on his plate. So I just wanted to make sure we extend our gratitude towards everything, just for the fact like we're being able to have the opportunity to talk about something that we're truly passionate and endearing about, and just for having you awesome guys together, and just be able to have this outlet as a source of a cathartic release, and just to kind of not have to worry about so much. It's kind of a chance for us to offset any of those kind of stressful situations that go on in life. And I just want to, there's a lot of times in my life I'm so much focused on all the complications with life and all the other stuff that comes with it, and just the hustle and bustle of getting through everyday life. So I just want to say I'm super appreciative of you guys, love you guys, and I'm just super proud to and honored to share this stage with you guys. Like really grateful for you guys, man. Thank you. Thank you
Man, I
guys so
love
much
you
for
too.
being here.
Thanks. That was awesome.
Definitely, too,
All of you
man.
guys, and extends to all of you guys. So I
All
don't want to leave any guys out, but it's just, especially around this time, Jimmy kind of knows about some of it, but I tend to just reflect so much on the dour kind of things with life and some of those sad and miserable moments that happen. So I'm trying to kind of shift away from that kind of mindset. So I just want to say thank you guys so much for being here, and thank you guys at home for giving us the chance to kind of talk about stuff that we love too. So with all that being said, appreciate you guys, appreciate everybody, everything, and hope everyone is doing well.
Yep.
All that being said, let's for this too. One thing that happened recently is Sandman, the live action adaptation, got released season 1 on Netflix, and a lot of people actually at my work have been talking about it. I haven't checked it out just because I haven't had the opportunity, but Eric and Ruben have had the chance and have talked pretty greatly about it. You guys want to talk a little bit without getting into spoilers about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty dope. I mean, Neil Gaiman's participating in it, and he's helping out with the
Yeah,
writing. So,
that's awesome.
you know, it's gonna have. It's gonna meet expectations, in my opinion, when the writer is associated with it.
Always.
At Comic-Con, there was a lot of hype around it. I remember going to the Netflix booth at Comic-Con. They were giving out like Sandman pins and stuff, and there was like
Awesome.
sneak previews that they were giving, and it looks really good, especially fans of the Sandman comic books, or even just like Constantine in general. Like if you're fans of Hellblazer or the Lucifer comics or even the Lucifer show, I think going back to the original work and seeing this adaptation of it is really gonna be intriguing, even if you haven't read the comic book. I think it's just
Yeah.
really cool to see it play out. My sister never read the comic book, but she really enjoyed the show Lucifer. So I said you should really watch the show, and she's liking it so far. So it's really good, and I mean I'm very pleased with it. I'm happy that it got a really good adaptation.
Right.
What do you think,
Most
Ruben?
definitely. Yeah, same here. I agree with Eric. It's like, without getting into a lot of details, like, I didn't really read the physical comic books, but I did read the electronic version, and not all of them. So I'm not even done reading the whole storyline. Because I think it came like 28 comics, 1 to 28 or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really love how it touches. They say it really does touch onto the comic book or the novel. You know what I'm saying? I'm on the hunt for the omnibuses now, the 3 collector set. I know it's
Yeah.
gonna be pricey, but I'm on the hunt for that now because I want to keep reading into it. That's how good this first season was. Where
Yeah.
I'm just like, it has me hooked. It has me hooked from the beginning, bro. And I was just from the beginning. What was it? 10 episodes, 1 through 10. I just wanted to see more and wanted to see more, and then
Awesome.
the way it ended, for sure, man, it has a lot of potential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I was gonna say the fact that you brought up that you're trying to get your hands on that comic is actually really interesting, because I tend to read the majority of my comics online, right? Like I like subscribe to
Mhm.
the Marvel Insider and all that, so I can have access to
Yeah.
those. But the I have a library pass, and they actually have a lot of these comics at the library, and I continuously just go through and get comics from the library. When I saw that Sandman was gonna right after Comic Con, I was like, okay, I think I should reread Sandman, but I didn't own it. The
Mhm.
first omnibuses, so I went to go look, and they actually have them at the library. But I'm
Dang.
like number 10 right now on the waiting list because everyone was trying to check it out, and they had multiple copies too. So, but yeah, like I don't know if anyone out there like doesn't know where to start with comic books. Honestly, just get a free library card and go check out the comic books in the library. They have all the
For sure.
like Days of Future Past. They have like amazing X-Men series in there. I reread The Mighty Thor right before Love and Thunder. Like they have all that at the library.
Hey,
So if you don't have the money
hoping
to
have
actually
top
spend on comics, that's a really good option for a lot of people out there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Crazy.
good thing you brought that up. And this series is something that definitely intrigued me, especially when I first got into Sandman. The reason was because obviously I was heavily into the Crow. When I first saw him, I actually thought it was the Crow. I'm like, wait a minute, is the Crow a DC Comics character now? So that was like my whole thing, and I was like, hey, this looks cool, this looks interesting, and then also too like people like because there were also people at work who had seen it and they actually didn't know that he was a DC Comics character. They're like, "Oh, have you heard of this DC Comics character, Sandman?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, he's pretty cool." And the whole universe and stuff. It doesn't exactly feel like it belongs in the DC universe, but it's kind of one of those things that it's pretty cool that is kind of a character that is involved in that universe that you don't really think about. So I can't wait to check it out. Next week we're gonna cover it before She-Hulk. It's just we're trying to give us up a little bit of time to finish it, but next week we'll bring a breakdown of that. And
I
then
know,
moving
man.
on from that,
No, go for it. Go for it.
go for
No,
it.
go for
Yeah,
it.
sorry.
No, no, because I was just gonna say that. Yeah, the one I want to give props to DC, but it's like, nah, I want to give him more to Vertigo. It's all Vertigo. I knew, it's all him. Where they're the ones that feel like they touched more and related more
Yeah.
into the comics. So it's still tough for me to give props to DC. Where it's like,
I mean,
Exactly.
they're
it's not
they're
for
their
DC.
yeah, they're their own imprint, and they
Yeah.
went to Netflix for a reason. They there's a
Yeah.
reason they didn't go through Warner Brothers. Why it's not being come out in HBO Max.
Yeah.
They made the deal with Netflix. I'm sure there was a pitch in there that made more sense to go that way. And so far, it looks
Heck,
like they made the right choice.
Yeah, definitely
they
paying
did it
off for
right.
sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So check out Sandman. We're gonna bring you a full breakdown next week on the next episode.
Yep.
And moving on from that, the biggest news and that has rocked the comic book superhero industry and something that I've been really eager to get into a discussion about is the Batgirl film is officially canceled and will not be released in theaters. The official reason given by Warner Brothers Discovery is that they are committed to making DC films big theatrical film events, and Batgirl isn't that. And in conjunction with this, CEO David Zaslav confirmed it wasn't good enough, saying, "We're not going to launch a movie until it's ready," and that, quote, "We're not going to launch a movie to make a quarter, and we're not going to put a movie out unless we believe in it." And they wanted to also use this as a tax write-off, and because of that, they weren't able to release it because obviously they released it, then they weren't able to get that tax write-off. So, are you guys buying this, and what do you make
No.
of this? Because nowadays this is very unheard of, and
Shit.
any chance that this could be a silver lining to get the DC cinematic universe on track to become something truly great?
No, I think he's lying. For one thing, the tax write-off thing didn't come out until after. It
Exactly.
turns out that it actually had the same reaction that the Black Adam did, where not everybody loved it, but it's not as bad as they described it as being. I think it's just a tax write-off, and I'm not happy about it. That sucks for people who like pour their heart and their souls into making movies and to like getting a good production and hyping people up for over a year and getting them excited. The whole thing about it was never meant to be a theatrical release. We always knew it was an HBO Max. It was an HBO Max movie. So no, I don't buy it at all, and I'm not really happy about it. I think that's not fair to the filmmakers. It's not fair to the directors, the actors, the people involved. Whether or not it was a good movie, I guess we'll never know now. But I don't think it's a good move, and it looks bad.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it is a bad move. I don't believe that move at all. I just feel like they really went with the critic reviews where it was. I heard they got the same reviews as Black Adam, and Black Adam is still gonna be released. So I'm like, it was just more of a. They went with the critics, and who knows? Maybe they just felt like, yeah, Batgirl didn't have a future. But then they're saying now that she's still gonna be, some way somehow the Batgirl in a future film some way. But it's like, man, don't try to make her feel better now because I do feel bad for everyone that's involved. It's like, man, they put their heart and soul into it. You know what I'm saying? Especially as an actor, it's like some people go years without finding a job, and they get a role, a important role, Like that's a big break for them. Not only that, just what about all the action scenes? The doubles that like they better get paid still. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it just really sucks. I don't believe what they're trying to make the excuse for.
Yeah, I think it's crazy. Like, how bad does a movie have to be to just throw that much money out the window? Like,
See,
like
I
if
don't.
we're talking about bad DC movies, like even like Batman and Robin still made something in the box office, and people went to watch it.
Yeah,
It's like,
Even the Suicide Squad was still technically a financial success as a
yeah,
movie.
at
Well, because
this
it came out on
point,
your birthday. That's why it was a financial success. People went because it was your birthday, not because they wanted to see the movie, Jimmy. Come on, man.
Okay.
I know. At this point, I mean, you come out with a superhero movie that's in the DC universe, people are gonna go watch it. You're gonna make money back. I think. I mean, I want to say that maybe they have a vision for DC, but I highly doubt that still. Like it's DC has always been, especially with the movies, like one-off stories, and just what we're hearing about the people that were coming out in this movie and like how much hype was around it. I mean, I thought it was gonna be a decent film. I didn't think it was gonna be like the best film out there,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, to be clear, I don't think anybody expected it to be like an amazing film, but I thought it would at least be entertaining. And if Sony can release Morbius, I mean,
for
twice,
real, huh?
twice.
twice,
But
yeah.
straight up, I really wanted to see Michael Keaton. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
Here's the
exactly.
thing, on the test screenings, that was the thing that got the most positive feedback, and that got me hyped up hearing that Michael Keaton's action scenes were the best thing about the movie, that they were very impressive. I don't know, man. I
I
I'm
think
not
a
sure because
big
he's already getting older in age, so if they're trying to bring him back in a future film. No more action scenes, but he's gonna have to be the double for sure.
Oh, for sure. Just like giving. I mean, he's in his 70s now, so that's easy to see. But I think a big part of this too, it just goes back to this being the previous management just doing completely asinine things and making these kind of announcements, putting these projects together that I don't think that they had the most faith in. And this is a report that I've read too, and it really just confirmed my kind of suspicions on this. But this is coming from the cultured nerd. The previous management of WB scrambled to announce projects at DC that would ensure the longevity of the people that were in fear of losing their jobs. Some of these films were announced with minimal budgets so they could be quickly filmed and released for a quick profit. The problem is that some of these projects were allegedly announced directly to combat the racism allegations from Ray Fisher, cyborg actor. Allegedly, they believed that if they announced a diverse cast and crew, people would ignore the allegations that were coming at them. But the fact of the matter is that the previous management ran the company into the ground, and now the new management is trying to make the company profitable again. And the only way to do that, it seems, is a fresh start. So I think there is truth
okay,
there. I'm not going to say that's totally it, but it does seem with some of the things that they were doing, like having Leslie Grace as Barbara Gordon Batgirl, having Sasha Calle as Supergirl, and then they announced this random Blue Beetle project, and it kind of and Wonder Twins we even had before, which it didn't make any sense. And I can kind of see where that's coming from. I did think that some of the things that they were trying to do was because they were trying to helm themselves as being a very progressive, diverse company that was echoing in this new, though not exactly new trend, I'm sorry, but this like that they were open to these ideas and these possibilities and open to having kind of these kind of actors or to having like this kind of background. And that's something I'm wondering too, because obviously those allegations from Ray Fisher, they were huge, and I don't even think they really had any kind of amendment for it, or that if there was any kind of ratification with it. So I don't think that's totally the case, but it does seem like they're trying to course correct and they're saying the right things as far as we're trying to make DC profitable again. And they talk about brand building and kind of just getting the trust from the public, which is something that the MCU has done for over 10 years now. So I think that's a big part of it too.
I mean, I don't even know if I can even buy that because look, I'm not going to say that Warner Brothers has made all the best decisions, but to say that
Yeah.
they ran it into the ground, even the things that were not good movies still made money and were financial success. I don't think it was that bad. Sure, some of the movies did suck, but I don't know, man. I
yeah,
just have,
exactly. Like they do suck, but as I'm saying, I don't have DC has. I'm always the one saying it. DC has been messing up for the longest, but they still make the money off of the films they're putting out there. So to at least not even give it a chance kind of sucks. Unless like I said, they're really gonna put her in the mix down the line in this 10-year plan they have going on.
The 10-year
Oop.
plan is gonna take
Oh.
5 years to plan out.
Yeah. So my whole thing getting back to that is that what I meant by that is that where they ran. I mean I'm not going to say they ran the company into the ground. There were some good things that came about and some positives and silver linings we didn't expect to see. But as far as there was not a structured, cohesive plan that for this slate of films and for this universe, it was kind of just do whatever at random. Okay, we immediately are going to do Batman vs Superman right after Man of Steel, and kind of shoehorn in Batman and Wonder Woman, and then kind of do an extended trailer for Justice League, and then release the Justice League movie a year after that. So it just seemed like a lot of it just wasn't a cohesive plan. And then when Aquaman had its massive success, okay, we're gonna do an Aquaman sequel, and it was. I mean, I think that was one of the cool things also too, is that they had these kind of films and these kind of things that weren't exactly locked into the same thing, but more so from that perspective. The thing that upset me was that it just seemed like there was no cohesive kind of plan. More so, especially once you compare it to Marvel and everything that they hinted at from the very beginning with the Infinity Saga and Thanos, and that we didn't get that from. It just seemed like they were just doing whatever. They were just winging it and going random and didn't really have a cohesive plan. So that was more where I'm coming from with it. And it seems like hopefully they're going to be on a course correction. I'm taking it with a grain of salt because, like I said, I'm not super confident in it. They are kind of saying something that is appealing to me, but at the same time, this is something they had said before too, and all those other projects that got canceled and everything going on with Ezra Miller and with the Flash film, and it just seems like we might not even get to see Michael Keaton come back, and that was supposed to be something that they were going to be working towards for the future. So
I mean, Michael Keaton's going to be coming back in the Flash for sure. He's going to be a big part of it, but there's no saying if he's going to be a part of it after that. It might just be a one-off thing, like Tobey Maguire appearing in No Way Home. Maybe a bigger role than what Tobey Maguire had in No Way Home, but it just might be for that movie. And from what I understand,
I feel he's gonna come back.
Bring Ben Affleck back and whatever, man. I mean,
Ben is coming back.
Just for me, I don't. I get what they're trying to do, but I'm like, I feel like we heard this before from the last leadership, and we're trying to course correct it so it could be like Marvel.
That's exactly why I'm very apprehensive about it. Honestly,
we want Ben Affleck. We don't want Ben Affleck. If you're going for a fresh direction, then why are you bringing Ben Affleck back? And the thing is, I'm a little bitter as a Michael Keaton Batman fan. Like, for 2 years, this company has built it up and like hyped it up, and now it might not even be a thing. I'm like, what was all that for? What's the point of getting excited for anything at all from this company if that's what they're gonna do? I'm really I'm sour on it, dude. I'm not happy with the management.
He's like, it really got to his mind, bro. Now when they talk about a movie, he's gonna be like, nah, they're probably gonna scrap it. I'm not even excited for it.
Like, yeah, it doesn't give me a reason to get excited for things. So when they announce something from now on, I'll be like, okay, sure, whatever. When it happens, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, it just seems like they've been trying to play catch up this whole time to Marvel instead of trying to create their own lane. And what they're not doing is following what the comic books did. Like I've said it before on this podcast, whereas Marvel did really well with like the groups, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, and all it. Like they did really well with bringing groups of heroes together. But DC always had the better stories when it came to single heroes figuring out just a single standalone story.
I agree with you.
And it should be darker too.
Yeah, and darker. Like you knew that if you wanted a single story of like even like Green Lantern or Flash, like you went to DC because they have some of the best stories for single heroes there. If you want these big cosmic team ups, then yeah, you go to Marvel, right? They're fighting over here. They fight Thanos, Galactus, whomever at a cosmic level. And yes, DC has those moments too, but in the end, I think the movies are just trying to catch up like relentlessly to Marvel, and they don't know what they're doing. Like now they're talking about you putting someone in the Kevin Feige role. Like, do you really need that, right?
Oh, Greg Berlanti from the Arrowverse of all freaking things.
I know, right? And then there's it's because the Arrowverse was the most successful DC universe on screen that we've seen so far.
But
the thing is, I don't see that translating to a theatrical audience.
Oh no, definitely not. It works for the TV shows because it's very like dramatic and story.
They also tried to do this back before Batman vs Superman, because they had promoted Jeff Johns into that role.
Yep.
So it's like they tried to do this before, but they didn't really have that savvy mindset of a Kevin Feige, because Kevin Feige obviously had a long history of being a producer. So I'm not saying that Greg Berlanti doesn't have that. He has that more than Jeff Johns, because Jeff Johns was more associated as a comic book writer. So that's what his thing was. But I don't see him like having those same kind of credits to his name, aside from the TV and film is incredibly different. So I don't exactly see that panning out, especially just with kind of the things that we talk about, where some of the flaws and some of the shortcomings of that Arrowverse and everything. So I'm not really.
I'm not either. And here's another thing. I agree with Eric that DC is better at like individual stories and individual one-off movies. I think all of their best movies, all of their best work are things that are not concerned with a larger universe, whether it's the Batman movies, whether it's Wonder Woman. And I know that Wonder Woman takes place inside the DCEU, but it works better as an individual film. I wish that like the Joker movie, like I just wish that they would concentrate on that and stop trying to chase something that they're never going to catch up to at this point, because it's hard to buy a fresh angle. Like, this is fresh, we're going to make it like Marvel. That's what you said 5 years ago, and you're making it fresh by going back to Ben Affleck, who was not a success with the DC. I'm sorry, it wasn't success. I know that the Snyder Cut, which I love, got positive feedback, but you're trying to like you're cutting out a new course, you're saying, but then you're doing the same thing that you were originally doing. Then you're canceling a bunch of projects that you had people excited for years. At this point, I'm irritated as a fan. I'm so annoyed with this company right now that I don't even want to like look at news. Every time I look at DC news now, I want to scroll past it because it's annoying.
On another level, there was also that, I don't know if you looked through the deck, the slides that Warner Bros. And Discovery showed to the shareholders.
Yes.
And they had like HBO Max, and like, this is the home of fandoms, and it's all like male skewed. And I knew so many women that were just upset at that, because like, what, don't we watch superhero films too? And I wonder if like the cancellation of Batgirl and that has anything to do with that. But even in the end, like, them saying that we have a 10-year plan, this is the plan for everything that's gonna come out on HBO Max, which is gonna be the superhero stuff. And it's like, it's male skewed, lean in, it's homo fandoms, and that's what it's gonna be. And it's just like, I don't know. I think they're missing the nuances of the superhero genre in general.
And the thing is, I think it's because that new guy, David Zaslav or whatever, is clueless about this. He doesn't understand it like he thinks he understands it. I don't agree with any of his business plans. I'm not happy about that HBO Max Discovery thing that they're doing, because it might axe a lot of original content. And HBO Max is my favorite app at this point, and they're just going to like pump it full of reality TV show, that unscripted stuff. I'm not into that. I'm not interested, and I'm not going to pay more for that.
What I want to know is, do you see really hiring people that love comics, because it really feels like they're not, at least for the top of the helm, like the one that they gotta go through. It's like, what are you guys doing? I feel like they're not big DC lovers. They're just in it for the fast money or something. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
I don't think the guy sees the potential in it. Like with the fan, and look, I'm not saying that comic book movies, I do think that the audience is more male skewed. Having said that, it has a lot of female audience members who go to see superhero movies.
Growing up, what we call it, little geeks, nerds, into comics. I've noticed more guys and girls that for sure back then, but now it's like, it's evolved, so.
It's evolved. And whenever I go to an event or I go to like see a superhero movie, there's always a significant number of women in the audience there too who want to go see it. And I know a lot of people personally. My sister is into these movies. I have a lot of female friends that love superheroes and everything. So it just seems like you're shitting on the Batgirl movie. You're taking that away. And look, I don't want the Flash movie to get canceled because I want to see it. But it's not a good look that you're getting rid of like the Batgirl movie. But Ezra Miller, who's out of control and his behavior is off the damn wall, and he's still going through with his movie. And then the reports that they were doing reshoots with Ezra Miller while Ezra Miller was a fugitive from the law at the same time.
I know, man.
That's next level, honestly.
That's next level.
And
he's making Amber Heard look good. How about that? He's making Amber Heard look good.
Oh my God.
Yes, he is.
Yes. Echoing those same sentiments, I think that's something that, while it does seem like okay, they're trying to butter people up and try to get them excited and just tell people what they want to hear. But at the same time, he talks a lot about, oh, we were into making DC films, big theatrical events. But at the same time, I think where I'm more apprehensive about is there doesn't seem to be that understanding of the comics and from the history and all the lore, that kind of understanding of it, more approaching. Not that I'm saying that doesn't, but it's more. I was hoping for something more along the lines of we want to have faithful representations and what people loved about reading these comics and the source material. We want to have that brought into the forefront, into a live action, into a media display, so that other people could enjoy that. So that's something where I'm more like, you guys have this incredible property, a lot of amazing characters, a lot of amazing stories, characters that I truly want to see. But it just seems like that it's one of those things. Like, I'm just wondering, is this all just a money making scheme for them? And
Yeah,
obviously, we know that's going to be a
purely
thing, but it
money
just doesn't
play.
seem like there's that kind of care and sensitivity and caution with handling these characters. It just
Yeah.
seems like this whole thing. Oh, we want to make these big theatrical events. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, is that it?
I
Like,
think it's also because the thing that Disney has done is they've siloed all the Marvel content into one it's like a company within a company, right? It's this department that is only in charge of Marvel stuff, and that's what they're doing. And we don't really see that over here on the Warner Brothers side. We just know that
Yeah.
DC belongs to Warner Brothers, and the whole DCEU, like DC Extended Universe, the fans made that up. It wasn't an official statement from HBO Max until they saw the fans were this is what they were calling
Well,
it
I think Snyder had said it,
at some
if I'm
point.
not mistaken, because people had tried to say DC Cinematic Universe, and he said, "Oh, well, it's more along the lines of an extended
Yeah.
universe." So that's like where that got coined.
Yeah,
But-
but whereas under Disney, like MCU is Marvel, and Marvel is
Yeah.
its own company, so they
But
all
there
have
is-
like this direction that they're focused
Yeah.
on. Whereas when you get to Warner Brothers and Discovery, they have like all these different brands that they're lumping in together. Like when they said their global powerhouses were Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, Shark Week, and 30 Day Fiance. It's like,
What about, like,
what does
Bugs
all
Bunny,
that have
Looney
to do with
Tunes,
comic?
and-
Like you just threw in 3 superheroes with like reality TV, and it's just like it's
Yeah,
all
that's
over the
another-
place. So they just don't
they-
have, they can't like concentrate on one thing long enough to actually like build it out correctly.
That's another
to
thing I
this
don't
day,
like,
when
is
I
them
think
shoving that Discovery reality show crap, which I'm sorry, I'm not into that stuff, and trying to lump it with that really turns me off a lot. That really just makes me not want
No,
to subscribe to their stuff
I
anymore.
feel you. That's what I'm saying. To this day, when I think Discovery, man, I just think animal documentaries and things like that. You know, like that's all I can think about when I think Discovery, bro. Like growing up, that's all I remember just watching. You know, just those animal documentaries and things like that. So
Some show with Jack Osborne traveling the world and doing God knows what.
But
Like,
the rumor is that they're going to be working.
Reality stuff we're talking about though.
But the rumor is that they're going to be working on having like a DC film studio, or at least like a media production that's going to be involved of all of the different media aspects. So
That'd be
that's
good.
also been nothing has been confirmed. That's just one of those things that said, oh, well, maybe this might be a thing. So I'm like, well, is it or is it not? Like, it's been how
Sure.
long, and that hasn't been a thing. That should have been a thing a while ago, but I don't know why it wasn't. So as a massive DC fan and somebody who just loves these characters, like I said, I just really love these characters, these stories, and I'm always harkening back to just the comics, because at this point it doesn't seem like we're going to be getting a fair representation of that spirit and that soul and that love of these characters in a live action depiction. So I'm not saying that I'm always going to welcome these kind of adaptations, but at the same time, you just see these things that they do and these moves that they make, and you're like, what the heck is even going on? Especially with regards to like Batgirl, especially for somebody who has been around the film industry, and just for something like, I would get upset if something got canceled that only cost me like 1 day or 2 days to film on as a stunt person. I can't imagine to film something and put a lot of money into it. You know, just they're filming 5-6 months and it's all done. You're going through test screenings, and then for the new CEO of an emerging company to say, "Oh, we're just going to cancel it and use it as a tax write-off," like it's got to be incredibly heartbreaking to them.
Yeah,
and sad. Like
the directors of that. The directors of that did
the first episode of Miss Marvel.
Yeah, did Miss Marvel. Like, I don't know, man. It just seems like They already have a proven. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
But the thing that I'm reading is that
Speechless.
Warner Brothers Discovery actually didn't call them to let them know that this is happening. Apparently, when they found out when the news broke on social media. So just like you don't have the kind of respect for them to let them know, hey, this is the decision that we made. We're sorry, but it's what we made. We're gonna try to have you guys on another project. It kind of seems like this Leslie Grace has been more upbeat and a little bit not jovial, but more upbeat about the decision. And it seems like the directors are pretty bitter about it, as they should be, as anybody should be who was attached to working on this project. Like it's crazy to me. But hopefully DC in the media can get on the right track, and I just want to see that same kind of soul and care and love for these characters that I have being handled by the people who own this intellectual property. Like it's just crazy to me that this is not a thing.
Yeah.
But and moving on from that, further echoing what's going on, Batfleck is back once again. He will be reprising his role in Aquaman: The Last Kingdom. He replaced Keaton as the I'm sorry. He replaced Keaton as Batman, as The Flash was supposed to come out before Aquaman, and now it comes out after, so it would have been very confusing for Keaton to randomly be there without explanation. Yeah, this is we kind of talked about this, but do you guys think that Keaton obviously isn't going to be the priority or not as involved with the direction of this new DC cinematic universe? Obviously, considering Batgirl's canceled, and who knows what's going to happen with the Flash film.
I don't know. From what I understand, Michael Keaton's gonna have a big part in the Flash, and they did reshoots on the third act to like change the ending where Ben Affleck doesn't officially leave and plays like a bigger part in the third act. But the thing is, I don't know. I feel like you spent 2 years hyping people up for something like this big nostalgic thing that's similar to like the Spider-Man thing, and they actually announced it before Spider-Man: No Way Home announced it too.
Mm-hmm.
And now the idea that Michael Keaton's, and the thing is, I feel fucking dumb because I've been talking to people about Michael Keaton coming back and playing a big part, and then I read it now, and I'm like, Ben Affleck's coming back. I'm like, why? Why is Ben Affleck coming back if you want to have a fresh direction? I don't understand any of it. It all gets on my nerves. To be honest, I'm not interested in seeing Ben Affleck come back at this point. But if that's the route they want to go, then whatever. There's nothing they can do about it. I'm not convinced that it's going to be any more successful the second time around than it was the first time.
I honestly feel like the news broke about Ben Affleck just because people were so upset at DC after Comic-Con. They didn't announce anything good. All they had was Shazam and Black Adam, and people were just complaining online about DC and how they got overshadowed by everything that the MCU released during Comic-Con. And then just like a few days later, it leaked online that Ben Affleck was on set for the new Aquaman film. I think it was just like, I don't know, they're kind of like forcing him back in. It feels like, and it's especially after having such a good Batman film with Robert Pattinson, and then just like, oh, let's go back to Ben Affleck. It's like it's such a like, I don't know, like it's just such a weird back and forth, and I don't know.
It's come out of nowhere. Like you said, the idea, it feels like it's being forced, like a back and forth. I'm like, why is Ben Affleck coming back? Batman vs Superman was not well received by the public. Neither was the Justice League theatrical movie. Zack Snyder's Justice League is niche. The Batman with Robert Pattinson was actually a financial success and was well received by fans. Fans liked it. Comic book fans liked it, and it made money. It didn't tank the box office like every Ben Affleck version of Batman. So I'm like, what? I don't know where this rationale is coming that people want to see more Ben Affleck as Batman. Aside from the diehard Snyder cult community that exists online, I don't really see a big call for seeing Ben Affleck.
Snyderettes, I think.
Snyder Bros.
Snyder
Yeah.
Bros.
I mean,
Snyderettes, I think.
I actually liked him as Bruce Wayne. I think he plays a better Bruce Wayne than a Batman. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I think so too.
But
I
I
agree.
think it was just bad writing in those movies. So okay,
Definitely.
yeah, sure, give him a third chance. But at the same time, like you were saying, it's like we had enough. It didn't work. Move on, type of thing. But
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like they're getting the hint.
I honestly think that he is done, and especially because he echoed those sentiments after he had filmed his scenes for the Flash movie, that this is the perfect closure to this character, and I was glad to have this opportunity to come back because it's the perfect send off for this character. He just seemed like
But he said that before
he
the
was
reshoots.
well for the Flash, I meant.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
but he said that
he's
before
only
the
coming
reshoots.
back for this because this was originally supposed to be Keaton, but because this film comes out before the Flash movie, it would have been random for Keaton to come up and be like, have people be like, wait, why is Michael
Yeah,
Keaton
that's true.
here now? So it seems like a lot of people were making this out to be a spectacle, like, oh, he's back for sure. Batfleck isn't going anywhere. Bye bye Keaton, this and that, and I honestly think that he's done. Like, I think he just did this as a favor because it made more sense in terms of continuity and what they were going for. And
Yeah, to be
as far as
fair,
that, he just seems like he's just completely done. Like, all the fatigue has set in. He had talked about that really bad time when he was working on Justice League and how that wasn't something that was fun for him. And just given that a lot of the success in the box office tanked, and a lot of people were calling him out for it. I actually do agree with Eric. I really did like him as Bruce Wayne. I did like him as Batman too, but more so I just seeing him as Bruce Wayne, he reminded me a lot of Batman the Animated Series version of Bruce Wayne. Just seeing like his look and the direction that they went with him. But I personally think that he's done, and as much as I wouldn't mind seeing him back. I think you have Robert Pattinson now, and obviously they're trying to make something with Keaton, which I think, moving on from that, I think we could possibly see a Batman Beyond version of Keaton. If they want to keep Keaton around, I think that would be the best way to go about it. If okay, you can't have too many of these Batmen around all at once, and they're focusing obviously on Robert Pattinson, and I think they're going to be doing stuff with Keaton, and that would be a cool way that I would say, okay, it's cool you have Keaton back because it doesn't seem like they're just doing it for nostalgic purposes. It feels like there's something purposeful and something story driven, something that makes sense to where he realizes, okay, I can't do this anymore, or maybe in one of these he actually has an accident, maybe something similar to like the Batman Beyond episode where he has a heart attack and that leads them to having to use a gun to intimidate a criminal. Like, that would be a cool thing that they're hinting and setting up towards Batman Beyond. I would really love to see it because Batman Beyond was one of those
That'd
things
be
like
super
I
cool.
just really love.
A
Like
live action
that
Batman
would be
Beyond would be
awesome.
dope.
to be honest, you know what? To be fair, it hasn't been officially announced, despite the reshoots, that Ben Affleck is back as Batman.
Yeah,
I've mostly seen that online from like, I describe it like Snyder
Snyderettes
are like pushing that, but there is no official announcement. So you're right, it's not official. It's all speculation at this point. Having said that, it makes sense that they would bring him back for Aquaman since it was supposed to come out before the Flash, and it wouldn't make sense to see Michael Keaton there without an explanation. But I actually think Michael Keaton doing a Batman Beyond movie, which people have been wanting a Batman Beyond movie for years, I think that's probably a little bit more profitable of an idea than more Ben Affleck Batman, especially since you already have Robert Pattinson's version of Batman going on, a regular young Batman. It just seems more profitable to have Keaton doing the Batman Beyond thing.
Yep.
Yeah, it'd be really cool. So we'll see what happens with that. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, I think, comes out. It might be getting pushed back, but sometime, I think, in March or April of next year. So waits to be seen. I personally think that he's done, and he deserves that kind of send off. Obviously, he just looks very fatigued and tired of this whole thing. I think even so much so with like Daredevil, all that he had went through. I was even surprised to see him come back as Batman for Batman vs Superman and Justice League. So hopefully he gets the kind of closure that he needs, and that'll be the end of that, hopefully. And moving on from that, one of the more exciting news that I'd seen is that Austin Butler, lead of the Elvis biopic just released in June, is rumored to have been cast as the Emerald Archer Green Arrow. Nothing obviously is confirmed, but given he was the lead in Elvis and has been cast in Dune 2, to WB, Warner Brothers, Discovery's Productions, it makes sense that they would see him as an obvious choice and keep him in-house. We don't know where he could pop up, as the only film, or it's most likely he can appear, is the Black Canary film, assuming it's still happening. But Warner Brothers Discovery could definitely have plans for him in the future. Could you guys see him pull off Green Arrow, and is it too early to bring him back after only a few years after Arrow has been off the air?
I don't know.
I don't even care anymore.
What was that? You don't
I
care
don't
anymore?
even care. I'm tired of their announcements. I don't take any of their announcements seriously. So, sure, in theory, it's a good idea, but it's coming from
Jimmy's so
Warner.
done.
Oh, man,
Jimmy
dude,
just sounds done.
so hurt. You so hurt.
I'm sorry, but I want to throw my coffee at that guy, Dave. Like you don't understand the extent of my upset of how upset I am with their decisions.
Oh man, I
Well, I
don't.
mean, we haven't seen the Green Arrow on the big screen yet, you know. So if it's something for the big screen, I'm all for it. But if they're trying to do it, you know, TV series wise, I think that is kind of too soon.
Yeah.
But hey, I mean, they're going on in a new direction, right? So who freaking knows?
I don't know what else this actor has been in. So
Oh well, this is his like actual
Hollywood.
breakout. He's been like a background actor. He was known as a background actor like in iCarly and Nickelodeon shows, and he's kind of had bit parts. The funny thing was he was in an episode of Arrow in like 2014, 2015. He had like a 5-6 episode arc with his sister Thea. He was like a member
Okay.
of the League of Assassins infiltrating. So that kind of funny. I remember seeing him there, and then in did you guys see Elvis?
No.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen it.
So I guess I'll take it on this one, but I saw Elvis. I saw it twice, and this guy was awesome. Really capturing the spirit and the essence of Elvis. Just a phenomenal performance, even down to the way he talked, the way he moved, a lot of the dancing. He actually even performed some of the songs in Elvis's earlier career. That was actually fully him. It wasn't mixed in and it with his voice and Elvis. It wasn't just Elvis. So it was just one of those performances where you see, wow, this guy really committed and dedicated himself to it. So. And he has that look and he has that kind of feel of a Green Arrow. I think the thing where I'm more excited about is that this is their chance and their opportunity to do something more in essence and spirit of the character from the comics. Because for a lot of people who don't know Green Arrow, he's written as being incredibly left-wing and incredibly progressive. That was further echoed when he was compared with Green Lantern, who Green Lantern had more of like a kind of authority kind of spiel because of his association with the Green Lantern Corps. So them pairing together, and that also was like something to where Green Arrow kind of confronted him on some of his issues. And I even think that and I want to say it was a run in the 70s.
Green Party.
I would say even like during a run in the 70s, like there was even like a confrontation of like racism also, which Green Lantern had to, not that he was being presented as racist or anything, but just confronting that that's something that people go through. And Green Arrow was like, hey bro, I told you that this is the things that goes on in America, where you're off saving the galaxy doing this and that, but you don't realize the problems at home are what people go through. So I think that's also something that can really play into dynamic into Green Arrow, and a lot of introducing him to like this kind of audience, to like that they didn't know about, like a different version of this character that they remembered from the show. So I'm a big Green Arrow fan.
Yeah.
So I'm always, like I said, I'm a little bit more optimistic than Jimmy. This is pretty cool news. And more so because this is a great actor and he's somebody who I can see just like, wow, this is somebody who can look like he's come from just painted off the pages or the panel of like Green Arrow, the Longbow Hunters.
Yeah.
So
I think
I haven't.
I was gonna say. I mean, yes, I watched Elvis. It was good, but I think also an actor being able to play someone that we have video footage of is different than trying to create a new character and bring him to life, right?
yeah,
And so I hope that he does do it justice, because like you, I'm a fan of the Green Arrow and Green Lantern, that those comic book series when they're together, and I think it'd be cool if we get that on film, on the big screen. It'd be really dope. I think a lot of people are still kind of. I mean, we just had the Arrowverse, like Arrow just finished. I mean, Flash is finally in their last season, so like it's like official ending to the Arrowverse, but people still have like that version of Arrow in their mind, and he's more based off of Batman than he is on Arrow. And
I call him Oliver Wayne. Every time, Oliver Queen Arrow. That's Oliver Wayne. That's Oliver Wayne.
Yeah. And I've had to like I have friends and like my sister like really like that show, and I had to explain it to them like, this isn't the Arrow from the comic books, by the way. Like it's even within the show itself, they would make fun of how much he resembled Bruce Wayne, and I always thought that was funny. So I hope people are able to receive like this new version of Arrow, and hopefully it's more representative of what we see in the comic books, because I loved how like wisecracking he was, and how like sarcastic he was all the time with the people around him. Just the little nuances in him having no superpowers and just having an arrow and fighting alongside the Justice League. Like I always remember, this was from the animated series where Batman had like he had a plan on how to take out everyone in the Justice League except Green Arrow because he wasn't worried about him. And I always thought that was funny. But
I
there
remember
was
that.
always that like comparison between him and Batman where they're always like at each other's neck. And I just love that, right? And I hope that plays out well, and hopefully the actor can pull it off. I think if he's coming from a background and in like really taking a character like Elvis and bringing him to life, I think he might do well. Especially if he really digs into the source materials.
And look, I don't mean to sound cynical. I'm just really upset at Warner Brothers, and it's gonna take me a minute to get over it. But I mean, he's a good actor. I don't know how he would be as Arrow. I haven't seen the Elvis movie, so the only thing I have to judge him off of is he played another real life person in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh yeah, he did. I forgot about that.
Yeah, he played
That's
Tex
right.
Watson.
He did.
Yeah,
Oh.
he played Tex Watson, who was the guy who led the break-in of the Manson family into Sharon Tate's home. I mean, in that version, it plays out a lot different, but those are the only two things I know him from is Elvis and that, where he's playing somebody, real people. So it'd be interesting to see him try to create. And I mean, of course, Green Arrow already exists, but Green Arrow is not a real person. So it'd be interesting to see him kind of have to like invent a new personality for
Yes.
something like that.
Or interpret this character from what he sees in the comics and
From what
bring
he sees
that
in the
about
comics,
in
yeah.
live action. So like this is a character like that when I first got into comics that I started reading about. So it's something that's a little bit more near and dear to my heart. So when it was first announced, and I'm like, oh wow, this guy would be the perfect Green. I'm actually a little bit sad still at the same time because I think time has passed. Charlie Hunnam was my ideal Green Lantern, Green Arrow. Every time I'd seen, like, ever since I started, I think that was the thing where I got interested in Sons of Anarchy because my cousin used to watch it, and I remember seeing it. He had like the slick back hair, he had like the goatee, and I'm like, my cousin's like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, this guy would be a perfect Green Arrow. He looks closer. Oh yeah, he would. And that was around the same time I started reading the comics. So that was it. Just sucks because time had passed, and he had said a little bit of a while back he would be interested in it. But given he's in his early 40s now, and Austin Butler is only like early 30s, I think just the window has closed on that a while ago. But be a great actor. We don't know for sure. Hopefully, we'll report on it, and we'll get some kind of breaking news. More so for me because Jimmy will probably just not really care about that too much, or probably ever. Jimmy is probably done with DC completely after this whole event.
Oh man,
I'll watch the Robert Pattinson Batmans and the Joker movies, and I'll wait until I hear something better about DC.
Well,
I kid.
Flash.
I'm in the middle of seeing these projects. I'm just not happy about it. I'm really unhappy with their decisions.
I mean, yeah, you have there's a lot of people echoing those same sentiments, so you're 100%. It's understandable, bro. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. I definitely think you're not in the minority there.
No, definitely not. Interesting development. It's just along the same lines of what we've been talking about. Nothing is confirmed, but it's been heavily reported that Henry Cavill is in advanced talks to join the MCU. And especially with an actor as liked and talented as Cavill, it would make sense why the MCU would reach out to him. And obviously, he had talked about a character he would like to be, any comic character from Marvel. He had talked about being Captain Britain. He did hint, like, that's something that he did hint about last year. Is there any other popular Marvel character that is coming very soon that you could see him play?
Yes, I have one. Well, I really wanted him to be Hercules, but obviously that's not happening.
I was thinking somebody else,
but I think he'd actually be pretty dope as Dr. Doom.
Yes. That's where I was going.
Like I haven't I haven't seen him in like a villainous. I mean, he wasn't. I forgot.
Like kind of Mission Impossible. He was more of like an anti-hero, someone who was just doing his job more so. Like,
but just he's a big dude. He's very like imposing. Like I think he would be good as Dr. Doom. I really do. Especially like I think we'll be able to see more of his acting behind a mask. Kind of how we saw in Dark Knight Rises with
Tom Hardy.
Yeah, with Tom Hardy and Bane. Like I for the longest time I knew Tom Hardy was a great actor and I really liked the roles he had played, but just how menacing he was behind that mask was really cool to see. And I'm kind of hoping that he'll become the Doctor Doom in the MCU, and we'll get to see some more of his chops, especially because he's such a big fan of just like nerddom in general. Like, dude plays Warhammer, like it's crazy to see, like he's like one of
He reads
us, right?
comic books too.
So yeah,
Is that-
I think he'd be cool as Doctor Doom.
Without a
he
doubt.
does it just- I hope
see
he
that
does
happening.
it despite Warner Brothers and DC.
Damn, Jimmy's really mad right now, bro.
I mean, he has every right
Yeah,
to be.
do
He
it.
has every right
Why
to be.
not? Do it, Henry.
And but I would love to see him go to the Marvel. I mean, as long as it's a great role, something that he'll fit in with, I'm all for it.
Because like
Yeah.
I couldn't really, as much as like it would have been cool to see him as Captain Britain. That's not really a character who's well known. Not only that, but I just don't see him getting like a big star. When you talk about an actor like Henry Cavill, he's not just going to be a one-off character or a character that's going to be in the background. Like he's going to be a big star, some kind of Kang Thanos level villain of the, or
He
some
would've been a
kind of
great
like see with
Hercules, though.
Superman.
Yeah.
So for that to go
Would've
from like
been a great
Superman to Captain
Hercules.
Britain, obviously you could see Superman and Doctor Doom. Those are those kind of go together, but not like Superman and then Captain Britain or something. But not only that, I think it would be a challenge for him because the thing is, he's so freaking good looking to like it's even hard to fathom him just in a mask and to rely more, and especially echoing those sentiments. It was cool you had brought up that distinction with Bane, because the thing that really stood out to me with Bane and Tom Hardy's performance is a lot of the, not so much the way he spoke and everything, but more so with his physical movements. A lot of that preparation, a lot of the movements, and a lot of this, and even kind of when he's talking to the guy and he's being very menacing and like an infrastructure that was important until now. Like a lot of that was just like a lot. I really liked what he was doing, and a lot of that preparation, a lot of the physical movements, and that can be something that you can especially when you think of Doom physically imposing, and he's going to be behind a mask. There's going to be a lot of times for him to do kind of subtle things that a lot of people aren't going to notice, but that's going to make him appear even more powerful or have more of that echoing that dynamic from him in the comics. So
to be honest, the mask is a great idea because you won't be concentrating on his good looks if he has a mask on. He's just going to be menacing. I think he could definitely pull it off. I mean, he's imposing. I think he should definitely do it. I would have liked him seen him as Hercules, like Eric said. I actually think that's probably the best fit for him. I think
I might get this Doom cover tatted on me, dog.
Nice. With his face, with Henry Cavill's face.
Nah, not all that.
But it would be cool. We haven't seen him, like we said, in a villainous role aside from Mission Impossible. So I think this would be a good test for him on his range and something that, especially somebody like Doom. Doom is such a prominent character in the comics and is involved with so many different characters and is this like next level baddie. Like, oh damn, especially that's like a cool freaking name, Dr. Doom. Who the heck doesn't like a name like that?
That's definitely a long-term role too. Villains are always long-term roles. Unlike the God of, from the God of Thunder movie, freaking Gore. Like he's the one now, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like he died, they really killed him off. Like damn. But hey, Christian Bale can make his money on that for sure.
Yeah.
So hopefully we get to see him as Doom. Like this would definitely be seeing him in a different light. And this guy's just a great actor, and especially as like Ruben was talking about, this is going to be a villain who's going to be around for the long haul. And you can't think of any other caliber actor who would be more deserving of that than Henry Cavill.
Yep.
So especially it would be a crazy slap in the face to Warner Brothers and DC as a whole. So and hopefully we get to see it, honestly. Especially coming from a DC fan, I would welcome it 100%.
Yes,
so
definitely.
Moving on from that, Marvel Studios will announce and reveal the first look at upcoming projects on September 10th at the D23 Expo. One of the things that I've been seeing from my sources, and that's been rumored, is that they're going to be having an announcement of Jon Bernthal coming back as the Punisher. They've also talked about, like, I think they're going to reveal that one of the Spider-Men, I don't know if it's going to be Peter Parker, is going to be wearing the black suit for the symbiote suit, the Venom symbiote suit for Secret Wars. I don't know if that's something that I've seen. I don't know if they said it's going to be Peter, if it's going to be another Spider-Man or Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield. I just had seen that, but are you guys excited to have these announcements, or what are you guys looking forward to for D23?
Oh no, man! I know during Comic-Con when they announced like the multiverse saga, and they showed Phase 6, I believe, and obviously they showed like the big movies there. There's so many spots that are open on there, so I'm hoping that they'll just like show that slide again, and they'll just fill in the rest of the spots that are open for Phase 6,
Yeah,
because then we can start getting hyped for that. But I mean, I loved Punisher. I loved him in season 2 of Daredevil. I mean, Daredevil's still up there, might be my favorite superhero show ever. And Punisher, his introduction in that was amazing. And
perfect.
I have a Punisher poster in my gym. I
Yeah,
have a little like caricature of Punisher and Daredevil in the kids' room. Like legit, it's just like one of my favorite characters. And I think John Berthal did an amazing job with the Punisher. And
definitely.
I'm excited for that. And I like that they now have Daredevil and like Logan and Deadpool on Disney Plus. So it gives me hope that this Punisher series that comes out, although it might not be as gruesome and bloody as
Right.
the Netflix series was, I think if he does come back, they can still stay true to that version of Punisher that they came out with and was very successful. I know season 2 of
Exactly.
Punisher was kind of weird and a lot of people weren't too like too much fans of it, but
Yeah.
in the end, I mean, it was still the same character.
I mean, it definitely had. I think what saved it for me, or what I was looking forward to, was that he fully stepped in and embraced his role as a Punisher.
Hmm.
Like that ending sequence with him was probably one of the best examples of the Punisher, or the best depictions of him we've seen in a live action format.
Yeah.
And then you just hear like it seemed like a callback to like the '80s, like that one liner. I'll dance with you. Like it kind of.
Yep.
I was like, okay, we're having a little bit of '80s cheese there too. And obviously, anytime you get to hear John Berthal do his battle cry, like you're always going to be like, oh man, that's the Punisher.
Yep.
But for me,
Yeah.
he's definitely aside from, you had talked about, there's a lot of other stuff like that's on the horizon, a lot of the multiverse saga. I'm actually most excited, if it's rumored or if these are true, that for this announcement, just because this is the ideal Punisher for me. He's a character, and a way that I think what makes him so endearing is that fact that with Berthal's performance and then the writing, it just made this character feel so human, and you sympathize with him so much. Like, yeah, he is a little bit on the edge and maybe he's a little bit crazy, but you understand where he's coming from. And I think to take a character like that, and you have where he did that monologue with Daredevil while he was, before he had gotten arrested in the cemetery in season 2, talking
Hmm.
about when he came back home and his daughter hugged him and everybody was crying and waterfalls were coming, but his daughter was holding him up and wasn't crying. Like, man, like a lot of that writing and a lot of his acting was just so endearing and
Hmm.
so great to see. So I think I'm a little bit with you. Hopefully, now that we have Logan and Deadpool on there, that is something to show that they're at least open to that. Like, I do think there's going to be some toning down, because some of the stuff that was on the Netflix series was pretty violent, or that version of the Punisher. Hopefully, not so much so that it's going to be toned down to the point we're going to have a character that doesn't even resemble the Punisher, like we did in Spider-Man the animated series, where for some reason he was like shooting with like laser guns or whatever like that. I don't think it's going to be that bad, but it's something I'm concerned about. But
Yeah.
I'm really excited. Hopefully, we get to see him come back for the future,
Yeah.
especially because then we'll get to see like him interact with Charlie Cox with Daredevil, and then we still haven't seen him face off against the Kingpin again. Obviously, season 2 hinted like that there's going to be a battle that they're foreshadowing, or that they're gonna have it out for each other. They're gonna meet up again in the future. So we still need to have that too.
Yeah.
What
I
about
mean,
you, Ruben?
I really want to
Oh,
see
sorry.
him go up against Tom Holland Spider-Man, just how he
That
did.
too. Yeah.
That's what I was
Right?
going to say. Hey, they're gonna go. He has to go against Spider-Man as well.
Yeah, he
He
has to
has
at some
to.
point.
Has
I
to.
think it might be similar to what happened in season 2 of Daredevil, where he was just on his mission and Daredevil was trying to stop him. But I think it'd be really
But
cool if
he
it's like a kind of his introduction back into the MCU, if it comes in through Spider-Man instead of through Daredevil. I think that'd be really promising.
That'd be cool, because that'd be a callback to the comics. Because obviously
Yep.
that was the first time we saw the Punisher. So
Yeah.
exactly. Amazing
That's
Spider-Man at 129. Oh
hey,
man,
damn.
imagine doing that homage. It's already
Yeah.
going for a good price right now, bro. But just
Um,
imagine if they did the like in the scene where he had them scoped out
Yeah.
in the
that would
oh
be
man,
cool.
that could gonna shoot up even more just because of that.
Yeah, and
Hey,
right now, kind of where Tom Holland's Spider-Man was left off at the end of No Way Home, it's open to like anything. right? Because he's not
Yeah.
attached to anyone anymore. So he could be
Mm-hmm.
reintroduced to Daredevil and Punisher, like more of the street level heroes, and I think it'd be
Because he always said, can't be Spider-Man. There's no neighborhood. Or what did he say in the freaking movie when he told Tony Stark, I can't
be
I
a
can't be no
neighborhood
neighborhood.
friendly Spider-Man
Yeah,
without a
Spider-Man.
neighborhood. Yep, can't be your
Oh
friendly
man,
neighborhood Spider-Man.
he
But
wants, like you say, he wants to keep his ear to the ground. He wants to stay local, so it makes sense.
yeah, that'd be dope if that was the introduction we see there.
Yeah.
But I
So
would love to see John come back for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll report on it when it happens. It's something that I've been seeing that's been going on for a while. But this is also what's kind of giving me a little bit of skepticism is this is something that has been going back for at least over a year. So it was like I kept seeing these updates, but this is the first time I'm seeing that it's coming from more trusted sources, especially since they keep talking about, oh, this is going to be announced at D23. Also, we know, I don't know if it's just because it's Warner Brothers or what, but we had heard there was announcements also with Henry Cavill going to be appearing at Comic-Con. So I'm just taking it with a grain of salt. It's more, it seems like they're on the right path and that this is something that definitely could happen. And especially with the way things are going, I don't doubt at some point this wouldn't. But until we get that full confirmation, it's kind of just up in the air. But all of us are hoping we get to see this definitive version of the Punisher back. Or maybe second. I think Dolph Lundgren was probably the most definitive version of the Punisher, if I'm being a little bit honest. Like, Dolph Lundgren is definitely Punisher. Probably Punisher more before he's Drago, for sure. Sorry, it has to be said. I know you guys don't want to hear that, but truth is hard.
That's funny.
But I'm totally kidding. And last but not least, we finally got confirmation that Lady Gaga has been officially cast as Harley Quinn in the Joker sequel, Joker Folie à Deux. I know I'm not pronouncing that right. Jimmy's not here anymore. It's going to be released on October 24th, 2024. Obviously, it's going to be reimagined as a musical. It'll be interesting because we haven't had something like that in superhero media, I think, ever. Maybe aside from like that little snippet in Hawkeye where they had like a musical of the rendition of the events of what happened at the incident in New York in 2012 in the Hawkeye show, but this will be a full-on musical. So I'm a little on the fence about it, but obviously Joaquin Phoenix, great actor, and then Todd Phillips, also a great director, and just that first Joker. I just don't know how that's all gonna work, but I guess we'll see. Maybe it'll be something more in the vein of like Sweeney Todd, where it's gonna be a little bit more darker, and that's gonna also be a little bit of a parody and satirical. So it just seems interesting, like an interesting kind of choice and thing to do. But I guess we're gonna wait and find out. It comes out in 2 years. But with all that being said, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. This is the Heroes of Mutants podcast. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, and we're also doing a giveaway on some of the comics that Eric had brought home from Comic-Con. If you guys go to our Instagram page, it's going to be pinned at the very top of our page. So that is going to go on for about another week. We're going to announce the winner on August 22nd. So make sure you guys check it out. Tell your friends. Chance to win some free stuff. It gives us a chance to give back. So make sure you check that out. Like and subscribe to this page and tell your friends about it. And we'll see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much.
See ya.